Let's now understand the provision of the law properly and speak with constitutional lawyer Martin Kpebu. Thanks so much for your time, counsel. First, let me gauge your mood on what transpired in Parliament last night.
Aisha, well, it's not the best at all. It's not the best for our democracy. Yeah, it certainly sends a very bad signal. Okay, because all along we have done so well, and we are touted as one of the best in Africa. So, for this brawl to happen again, especially in the context that a similar one had happened on the 6th of January, okay, doesn't leave us in a good position at all. So we are suddenly eroding the good marks and the good reputation we've built for ourselves. That much, I'm sure we all agree. Except also that if you look in history, it appears that, in every institution's development, things like this are bound to happen as long as we remain human. So I had to dig up to find out what has been the case with the UK, the US, and Canada. And as I said, I'm not equalizing, but I found worse precedents. So you hear about the English civil wars, where the parliamentarians overthrew the monarchy, Charles I and his son, Charles II. They killed people. It took some time before finally the monarchy was restored. You go to the US, you hear about the infamous brawl of 1838, February 1838. The same thing, 30 parliamentarians, that's the congressmen, were involved in a fight. And for them, they have about 80 of such fights, 80. So it's no joke.
All right, so that's Martin Kpebu, who is a lawyer. All right, so he's been speaking about what happened in Parliament. If you've been watching since last night, you would see that there was total chaos in Parliament. There was fisticuffs between the minority and majority MPs over the e-levy approval. And Martin Kpebu is back. Martin Kpebu, you were making that point.
Yeah, so I was saying that conducting a survey around the world, you'll find that these brawls have happened in almost every parliament, okay? Yes, so as I say, I'm not justifying what happened here, but I'm just saying that, when something untoward happens here, you want to look around and see whether your neighbors have done some either currently or sometime in the past. And as I said, during the survey, I saw that, in the UK, they killed people, lots of people, and dethroned the monarchy, Charles I. I've shown you what happened in the US, Canada. Canada was even so recent. You see, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in a fiscal confrontation with MPs, then there was a brawl. So it's not the best. Ghanaians have complained, and I'm sure this time round, the Speaker and the members of Parliament will resolve not to let this happen again. Yeah, so and draw a line under it and then move forward.
Now, okay, go ahead, Mr. Kpebu.
Yes, and this tells you how obnoxious this e-levy is. You see, this whole thing happening tells you the obnoxious nature of this e-levy. So it's a signal to the executive to go back to the drawing table and do something about it. The intransigent position will not take them far. It won't. So it's about time they realize it and look for alternatives. And the minority has shown them the way. So let's consider that.
Mr. Kpebu, let's look at the provision of the law. Article 104(1) and 2, for instance, it reads, except as otherwise provided in this constitution, matters in Parliament shall be determined by the votes of the majority of members present and voting, with at least half of all the members of Parliament present, at least the last time we crossed this bridge. Now, 2 says, the Speaker shall have neither an original nor casting vote. The running order of the House, Order 109, provides same. And now the man at the center of affairs insists his role as a presiding member does not stop him from exercising his right to vote on any subject on the floor of Parliament. Your interpretation of what has happened?
Well, what Joe Wise is saying, with due respect, is not tenable. He cannot count himself. He cannot vote. Look, it just won't happen, not under this constitution. If he thinks that is so, sure, he can go to court for an interpretation. If the Supreme Court says so, then we will abide. But until then, the clear reading of Article 104 does not entitle Joe Wise to count himself. Look, in the democracy, the argument they've been banding around that what will the people of the Kwai do? Does it mean that they become disenfranchised? Oh, so if that is so, then what will the people of Sal do? Santro Kofi, Akwafu, Lolobi, and Lipe, they haven't had an MP since this 8th Parliament started, right? So they are not citizens. Aisha, this is not the only time that we will have a functioning democracy, and then it happens that some people don't have their representative voting. No, this is not the only time. It happens. Here again, let's draw comparatives. Look, in the US, that we tout as a good democracy, you see the capital city, Washington, D.C., they have about 700,000 citizens. They have no senator. No senator, 700,000 citizens. And that has been the nature of the system the US runs. So will you say that because Washington, D.C. has no parliamentarian, it means that their democracy is not a democracy? Is that what we are saying? And also, as I mentioned earlier, if we're saying that for one decision that Joe Wise cannot participate in by voting, but he is participating in through moderation and the rest, if that is such a big problem, then it means that to the extent that Santro Kofi, Akwafu, Lipe, and Lolobi are not represented, then it means that our democracy has failed there too. And then it means we've been failing since, 7th January. You say, so that argument that what will the people of the Kwai do is untenable. Look, it's about time we just jettisoned it. It won't go far. Let's just accept that the system we are running, when you take the speaker's seat, you cannot vote. It's as simple as that. It's not targeted at the people of the Kwai. No. Tomorrow it can be the people of Boku. The next day it can be Tamale, and so on and so forth. So it's not as if anybody is out to discriminate against the people of the Kwai. This is the constitution we've chosen for ourselves.
With what we have seen, do you think that provision must be reviewed?
Definitely, as a nation, as we're going forward, we're seeing problems of it. If we say review, let's be very clear. It's not that we are going to review to say when the speaker sits and he's an MP, he should be counted. No. Our constitution is clear that when you are moderating, when you are in charge of affairs, we don't want you to vote. That is to ensure that you can be a neutral umpire, okay? That is to make sure that you can also perform that role well. So if we say review, it depends on what you want to put in there. But let me be very forthright. If it's to amend that in the event that the person is an MP, that's the deputy is an MP, he should vote, I'm against it. I'm definitely against it.
Now, the approval of the document is on hold. It is obvious we will come back to this once Parliament reconvenes. What should be the way forward? What should guide proceedings on this particular matter going forward?
Yeah, so now they would go and, consult among themselves. Tempers will cool down, and they can sit down, negotiate something among themselves. And I'm sure when they come back, understand, is it 18th of January?
Yes.
Right? So when they come back, we expect that
Martin Kpebu, he's a constitutional lawyer. Do we have Martin back?